Hope you're all doing well and find yourself in good spirits. I haven't made some videos lately because when I started this channel, I kind of had a motto that a wise man speaks because he has something to say, and a fool speaks because he has to say something. So I didn't want to just make videos for the sake of videos. I wanted them to be stuff I thought was interesting and could be helpful. This one I think is interesting and can be helpful. And the theme is how to spot a dope fiend. Um, I remember this counselor who was like just an amazing counselor, and he knew about the MMPI personality index, which is a psychological tool to tell you if you're antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, um, psychopathic, sociopathic personality disorder. So you do this whole questionnaire, and there's questions that they ask a couple times to see if you're a liar, if you tell it differently each time. And after you answer like 1,000 questions, it goes through this like Scantron machine, and it kicks out a number that you then go to the MMPI index book, and it tells you the personality disorders this person has based on them answering these questions, if they answered them honestly, right? And so he was aware of all those, but he added another one, which was the dope fiend personality disorder. And I've known a lot of dope fiends, people who were, fiendish about the kinder term would be addicted, but, at the time, the terminology was a dope fiend. And so these are three stories that all have a common thread and help me identify what a dope fiend is like. And I've made this video lots of times, and I threw shots at folks, subliminal ones, and I didn't want to do that. So this is the final one. This is not intended to, disrespect anyone. I don't think the people that whose stories I'm telling will even, they don't even follow this. So here goes. The first person would burn anyone they could. Thug fools, they would burn them. They had great family connections. They had, chunkums. They'd done boxing and all these martial arts since they were kids. They had a lot of nice toys, and people liked to be around them. But they would smash a fool's wife, burn them for dope, whatever. Anything, like, not even family was safe. And one time, someone sends a bunch of bullets into their house. And when they're telling me about this, this is a person with a lot of fame for burning people, for getting over on people. And it's all largely because of, an addiction to meth. When they tell me about it, they say, you know me, I never done anything wrong to anybody. And it really seemed like they believed it. They seemed convinced of that when they were telling me the story. The next one, and all three folks, we all know each other. Everybody I'm talking about knows everybody else, right? The next one is telling me about, different ways to take different opiates. This was kind of before fentanyl. They're like, yeah, the oxycodones, now they got them like where they're not water soluble. You got to do them this way. You got to smash them. And I'm like, dude, man, none of this interests me. I don't care about any of this. And yet they didn't have the capacity to change the subject. All they could talk about was the different ways, people ingest these drugs, and how like the pharmaceuticals were creating coatings on them so you couldn't smoke them, you couldn't do these, and they would adapt to different ones. And this was again before like the fentanyl explosion. And I'm like, man, you sound like a dope fiend. You can't talk about anything but drugs. And then they went on this long speech of how they've been clean, and they were just telling me what the scene is like. They don't do drugs. That they've not fucked around for a long time. They're healthy. They're working out. They're eating right. And then it goes to a whisper. Hey, but I got a little bit of coke and some heroin. You want to do something? And I'm like, fuck, you just gave me this big ass speech on how you're clean. And you end it with, hey, but I got a little bit of coke and some heroin. You want to do something? Like fucking nuts, man. Nah, I don't want to do nothing. I'm old, man. I might just have a fucking heart attack or something. I'm cool. And then the next one, you know, comes over one day and, you know, he's trying to sell me some stuff. And me and my wife are watching a movie or something. So we're both there and the homie's over there, right? And he says, hey, man, did you hear someone said I was hiding from them? And I'm like, nah, I didn't hear that. And then he goes into this long speech. Man, I don't fucking hide from no one. I'm out here in these streets every day. You know, I don't fuck around. No one, people know where to find me, man. I ain't hard to find. Started quoting Tupac, all this shit. And he ends the sentence with, hey, but check it out, man. I'm living on a boat at the marina and no one knows where I'm at. I'm like, did you just fucking tell me you're not hard to find and anyone knows where you're at if they need to get at you? And so that to me is the epitome of a dope fiend personality. They will give you a long ass spiel and sell on how awesome they are and then close it with what they really got going. And some people are better at hiding it, so that you might not catch it on the first one or the next one. But the cracks in the mask, you know, they always reveal themselves. And I would add that, you know, these three people I'm talking about, some I still look out for. You know, I love them. They've been, you know, down for me. If, you know, at one point or another, if I had any issues, I could go over there and they would go with me, to willing to throw their lives away. And, you know, maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe they're just ready to throw their lives away anyways for whatever reason. But the purpose of this thing is to tell you, if someone gives you a long old spiel and then ends it with something else, be careful, because they're trying to get something from you and they're not being honest about it. And so that was the point of the story, just to help you know how to spot a dope fiend and throw your guards up so you don't get burnt or cheated or something. Or just disappointed. They might not even be trying to get over on you. They just really believe what they're telling you when they tell you, and they make bigger promises than they can keep. And if you count on those promises, you might get disappointed. You might end up in a bad situation where now you're left waiting and they didn't come through, even though they promised you the world. Like I said, I still look out for some of these folks. The other ones, whenever we see each other, it's all positive and well, not positive. You know, I catch up on the gossip or what have you. But it's all smiles. We're happy to see each other and catch up and know what's going on. So, but you got to know who you're dealing with when you deal with people. Otherwise, you know, you'll be a sucker all day. You don't want to be that either. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this.